Welcome back to Queerly Thinking. I am Reese Wheatley.
And I am Sam Stone.
Sam, how have you been since our last episode?
I've been good, doing a lot of internal searching. Uh, went on spring break. That was a lot of fun. I went on the plane for the first time in near 2 decades.
Whoa.
I
By
know.
yourself?
By myself.
How
I
was
was
that?
I was a grown-up kid.
At the age of 21.
At the age of 21, I'm finally an adult mom.
How'd you do in all the airports and stuff?
I did good. I got lost when I was in DC because that airport is massive. I did not know where I was, but after like 30 minutes, I found out where my gate was.
That's good. I'm glad. But other than that, you visited siblings, right?
Yes, I went up to Maine to visit my 2 sisters that live up there. And it was just kind of like we didn't really do anything like huge. We just kind of sat around, got lunch, and like just kind of hung out. It was nice. It was nice. It's so much colder up there than it is down here.
I would imagine.
We got snowed in on my first day there. There was like a blizzard.
That's so lovely. I'm
I
so
know.
happy for you. I'm sure it was nice, though, because you
Yeah.
were stuck with people that you rather
Yeah.
be stuck with. So
And their house isn't insulated, so there was also that. But
interesting. Love that for your sisters.
yeah. How was your spring break?
It was good. I mostly visited family, so I'm like the complete opposite of most people our age. And I spent time with my grandparents the whole time, basically, other than like St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
But it was good. I really liked it. I went and played old people bingo,
Nice.
and the first day I had to split it with my grandmother, but we got $1,000 on
Nice.
a coverall,
Nice,
which I
nice.
found out it's called a coverall. But needless to say, I'm gonna go play bingo more because I won so much money and paid off some of my credit card with it. So I was very happy. And then I spent time with my other grandmother, and we just kind of hung out. And I actually watched the series The Bear. I
Oh,
don't know if
nice.
you've heard about it on
Heard a
Hulu.
little bit, yeah.
But it's so good, and cinematically, this show is not about TV mostly, but it's so cinematically pleasing. I definitely recommend it to anybody that appreciates cooking and is into that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful story about family and friends. That's what I would label it as personally. But my spring break was good. It was also nice to come back to the dorm and spend time with everyone in the dorm because I think we needed the break, but then we came back and we were all refreshed and we were like, okay, now we're ready to go back into school.
Yeah. It was weird because it kind of felt like, again, I think it was probably just because of all the traveling, but it felt like I hadn't been back to the dorm in like a year again.
It always feels like forever when you have like even a week break. It's like you come back and you're like, oh my God, we're all
been-
different people
Yeah,
already.
it's been forever. Like I
I
haven't
guess
seen
that's
you.
the point of being this age.
Last time I saw you was in the 1920s.
Bad time.
Bad time indeed. It wasn't good for most people.
But so we don't have some great things to talk about today. It's not really preferred. So I'm not too excited to talk about this. But so let's talk about Senate Bill 150. And I want to give a little bit of background on it because I feel that I'm a little more politically involved because I've always been politically involved since I was like 16. So I'm reading my notes a little bit to make sure I technically get it right. But some of the things that are happening in the next few weeks with that Senate bill in particular are completely unpredictable. Someone in Frankfurt, Representative Roberts, touched on, she basically gave a summary of what happened. And what happened was they went on lunch break and then they were told that there was a special meeting. And they were told that Senate Bill 150 was going to be talked about. And that is an anti-trans bill that would strip away gender-affirming healthcare for anyone under the age of 18, even with parental permission, I believe. The language in these bills are so vague that they try and make it vague so they have workarounds if anything legal comes up.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing too specific on gender-affirming healthcare, but it will mean like hormones get taken away, top surgeries taken away for anyone under the age of 18. I believe that's what the language implies. So a little bit about what's happening in the next few weeks or in the next week or so. I can't remember when, but it'll eventually be sent to Governor Beshear's desk, and he has implied that he will veto it. But after it's vetoed, it'll be sent back to a committee, I want to say, and they can override his veto. So we are expecting, we as in the trans community are expecting it to be passed in the next few weeks, which is completely heartbreaking, obviously, coming from someone that just spoke at my high school last week. I spoke to a bunch of people under the age of 18 that just started hormones. And so when I found out it passed, it was definitely a difficult time for me to find out that people that I spoke with are having that taken away amongst all the other teenagers in the state of Kentucky. But if you have anything to add, you're welcome to.
I mean, it's just like I'll occasionally be like on TikTok or something, and then I get shown a video of like what the latest like bill is or anything like that. And I saw this, and by this point, it's just like starting to feel like a bad joke. Like, how are things like this that feel so inhumane and just so like, you would think that this would be an issue back in like the medieval times and that this wouldn't even be like an issue in a modern courtroom. And now there are still people that are bickering about this. And it's just like, it's weird to me that people still think that this is like that these aren't basic human rights and they're taking them away, which is just complete. And I don't know what my language barrier is, so I'll be careful on what I say, but it's stupid.
Go for it. Honestly, go for it. We can cut it out, whatever.
It's stupid. It's really bad.
I agree with that. But I did put in my notes, I wanted to touch a little bit on what Bashir said in a press conference recently. He mostly said that his veto has to do with parental rights, basically. He said that the choice should be up to the parents, which, one, I don't necessarily agree with that language, but they're, guardians, whoever takes care of them. I understand why it would be left up to them, but statistics reflect, by the way, that we are going to have like a massive increase in teen suicide in the state of Kentucky, specifically for the trans community. And someone, I believe it's Representative Berg, lost her son to suicide right before this legislative session. And they passed this bill while she was in the room sobbing, because something like this is the reason, I assume, why he is not with us. And that is so disrespectful, so sad, and unbelievable, but predictable for people that believe this way. I don't want to say specifically conservatives, but anyone that voted for the bill. You are coming directly for the trans community. And I interviewed a wonderful advocate for trans rights. She's a trans woman in the state of Kentucky, Tuesday Meadows, which is just a beautiful name, right? A gorgeous name. And she's a part of the older trans community. But I asked her, I said, what are your thoughts on this? And she said, the trans community is essentially being hunted. And I had never heard it phrased like that before. And I took a step back during the interview, and I was like, wow, those are really powerful words. And then she said verbatim, we're next. The people that are over the age of 18 are next, which is horrifying because I've only been on hormones for 3 months. And I think if those are taken away from me, I'm going to have to come up with a different plan, because I cannot not have gender-affirming healthcare. Yeah. It's definitely been a life-saving thing for me. It's a big deal within the trans community. And the trans community, I want to say, we're including people in the non-binary community that are on hormones, or because that's under the trans umbrella. But I think it's just a really touchy subject right now. Yeah. And I didn't necessarily, I'll admit, I didn't necessarily want to be in the political climate in the next few years, because I've been involved in allyship and advocacy since I was the age of 16. So in just a few years, I will have been involved for in all of this for almost 10 years of my life, which is a long time. I'm burnt out. My other friend is burnt out. We were talking on the phone the other day, and he said he's burnt out. He's done. He wants to help and stand up for younger people, but he took part in the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's so discouraging to know that this has gone so far for so long, and there's been so much negative things happening, so many negative things happening, that our community is just, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, if I could be done, I would be done. I'm telling you that right now. Like, it is exhausting, and the point is that if you think you can choose a gender, if we had the capability of doing that, I would have chosen to be a boy a long time ago. And I wouldn't have elected to have to take hormones for the rest of my life just to present masculine and just to become a man, a boy, whatever you want to phrase it as. I would elect to not do that. And other people in the trans community have said the same thing. It is exhausting.
Yeah.
I wake up every day terrified that I will wake up to another bill proposed that takes away my right to have gender affirming healthcare, and that's a whole different beast that I would have to tackle.
Yeah.
And I already have mental health struggles, so it just adds to everything that's going on.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, again, I'll reiterate this as much as I can, but it's just baffling to me that this bill, which is going to be the cause of so many teenage suicides of people who are in the trans community, that they're just fine with. Like, they have no problem with that, and it's crazy. And they speak as if they're advocates for human life, but they're clearly not, quite frankly. It's
that doesn't make any sense. If you're pro-life, why are you passing a bill
that's
going to kill teenagers?
Yeah, like,
so you care about a fetus that isn't even a fetus yet, mind you, and you don't want people to abort that, but you want to pass a bill that's killing off people that are already people and human beings on this earth?
frankly, if you want that bill to pass, it's inhuman. Like, it's crazy to me that people think that is okay and think that should be just the way that it is. Like, it's baffling. It shows a lack of education. It's mind-boggling.
Yep. And at this point, I think that representatives and senators and whoever else that's involved in making these decisions really need to reflect. And anytime I talk to anybody about it, whether they're conservative or left-leaning or moderate, whatever, I always have to emphasize that we're going to lose people from this. We're facing a genocide in this community, if you want me to be frank with you. I can't emphasize enough how important this is to me, because I am in the trans community.
Yeah.
And they are gunning for the older community probably soon. And I would hope Bashir would veto that too. But
Yeah.
because I have just as much of a right as someone under the age of 18 to have gender affirming healthcare
Yeah.
that saves my life and makes me feel like who I am.
Yeah.
So that would be much preferred. I hate to make it super serious and talk about all of this, but it's absolutely necessary on our
It is.
podcast
Yeah.
because, it's funny because I posted a TikTok yesterday that was a preview, because my TikTok is a little delayed, but I posted a preview of season 2, hoping that I'd be able to get some clips from our past few episodes and post them on TikTok very slowly the next 3 weeks or so, until we come out with another episode and then another episode and so on and so forth. And there were so many comments that were problematic.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because if you all don't know how the TikTok formula works or algorithm, whatever, when you comment on someone's TikTok, it adds to other people's For You pages and gives them more attention. So that's one of my most viewed TikToks right now, because it's gotten so much attention and so many comments, and those people don't deserve to be acknowledged because that's all they want is attention. But I do want everyone to know that feels the same as them, that doesn't affect me right now. I don't know about you, but those kind of comments, I've heard all of it my whole life, mostly. So when I read some of those comments, it was borderline comical and ironic, because I'm sure it's the pot calling the kettle black at this point. They're just insecure within themselves, and that's why we're making a podcast like this. So
Yeah, like, if you're watching a TikTok and you come across something that is supporting trans rights and like advocating for basic human rights. And if you're really going to sit there and be like, I'm going to comment on this, I'll show them, and just post the dumbest thing you will ever see, frankly, it just kind of shows like, okay, it's showing what kind of person you are. And it kind of comes off as pathetic.
Absolutely. And it says more about me because silence is extremely powerful.
And the most that you're going to do is look at the comment and be like, wow, that person's stupid. And then...
Yeah, I had to delete some of them because they were just, the language was completely inappropriate, and I don't stand for any of that.
Yeah.
But I also want to touch on the fact that some of the other members of the LGBTQ plus community are being very exclusionary, I think is the word. They're seemingly not supporting the trans community. There are TERF feminists or TERF women out there, TERF lesbians, whatever you want to call them, which means trans exclusionary radical feminist, I believe, or feminism. And I've actually talked to some of them, and it is so surprising that they're like, this bill is not that bad. And we don't believe in trans rights as much. And the fact that there are people within our community that don't support the rest of the community, red flag.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's all I'll say. Because us as a community, supporting and saying love is love, first of all, is representative of all of the genders and sexualities being accepted. And I'm just kind of shocked by that. I'm learning more and more about it every day, but I was just completely shocked that was going on because it just threw me off. You don't expect that from people within your community, of course.
Right.
But unfortunately it happens, and there's transphobia that runs really deep within the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah. It can just like, especially from the way you're brought up and raised, it can be like embedded in you for a long time.
Absolutely. And I'm not brushing that off either. I mean, if people are raised that way, then I'm not saying that's an excuse to be transphobic, of course, or anything or offensive, but I do understand that, and I'm a little more lenient, and I love to educate people. That's partly why I made this podcast, and I wanted to have you on because I think that it's important to talk about, and it's important to acknowledge, but at the same time, we have to have some grace for people that are outside the community and don't know as much.
Yeah. It's just important to educate people.
Of course, I agree with that. But wrapping up the episode, I'd like to talk about the TikTok that you found for this episode.
On a little bit of a happier note. So on this episode for Found Family, this comes from TikTok user. My dyslexia is showing through.
Do you want me to read it?
No, I think I got it.
Okay,
I'll
you
pronounce
can do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Callie Brooke Jones, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna repeat that. This comes from TikTok user Callie Brooke Jones, where the TikTok shows these two are two women who are in a relationship, and the TikTok starts with one of them waking up from sleeping, and the caption, "This is not the first time I've woke up with her like this," and it shows her partner or girlfriend essentially wrapped around her like a snake, basically, just like clinging for dear life.
That's cute.
Yeah, and I just wanted to include this because I thought it was sweet. It's just like, it shows the humanity in all of us. It's just a nice, this is the kind of stuff that'll appear on my TikTok For You page occasionally. I'm just like, this is nice. I want to see this.
I love that because it's breaking the heteronormative nature of relationships in this society or culture. And that is adorable. I love that so much. Yeah. Because usually it would be a cis man and cis woman that are doing that on your For You page, frankly. But thank God for the algorithm because I am on the right side of TikTok right now.
Yeah,
so
I think I'm
thrilled.
on the good side too.
Yeah. But that's a wonderful. Thank you for sharing for
Of
Found
course.
Family. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We will see you in about a week, and hopefully we have a guest on. So I'm Reese Wheatley. Thank you for joining us today on Queerly Thinking.
I'm Samuel Stone. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good day.